behind me are 405 watt, 144 half cut cell, 9 bus bar, monocrystalline photovoltaic modules. Now, that's quite a mouthful, but essentially these are our most advanced, most efficient, most expensive panels, and we're really proud of them. I'm going to show you why they're so special. Essentially, they're really efficient at producing a lot of power for the footprint. They're really efficient at producing power in suboptimal conditions like shading, and they're really efficient at producing power over a long period of time, not just the first year, but 25, 30 years after. So let's break down some of those features. Now, a normal panel this size, this is about 79 inches. You can't tell, you don't know how tall I am, I'm just a man and a camera, but these are 79 inches by 39.4. A normal panel this size, not only is it going to be less than 350 or 350 watts, this is 405 watts, but it would have 72 cells. The cells would be about this big. These are half-cut cells, and there's 144 of them. And they have 9 bus bars. That's these connectors right here. The more bus bars there are, the more efficient the panel is. So, looking at this, the reason that these half-cut cells are important is to fight off the effects of shading. Now, ideally, all of our installations would be in perfect sunlight. In practice, there's going to be some shading. If you're in an RV, you might have to park in a place that's suboptimal. There might be a tree near your house that covers, part of the panel. That's life. And as an example, with that theoretical 72 cell panel, if I were to block off one of the cells here, that panel, if it's a 5 bus bar panel, will drop off 33% of its power immediately. That's because the way it's wired means that shuts off an entire circuit. The way these are done with the half-cut cells, if I block off that same exact area, I'm only losing 16% of the power. It's still a substantial loss. We still want to avoid shading, but it's much better than anything on the market for this price range. Now, beyond that, these work really well over time. Now, every solar panel degrades over time. There's lots of reasons for that. 2 of the major ones are PID and LID. One is potential induced degradation. The other one is light induced degradation. This has twice the industry standard for potential induced degradation protection. That's quite a mouthful. The reasoning for it, I do not know. It's a little bit too complicated for me to understand and certainly for me to try to explain, but TÜV certified it to have twice the industry standard for PID protection, which is pretty substantial. Beyond that, if you look at its performance over time, this has really low drop-off. So, as I said, every photovoltaic module degrades over time. At 25 years, this produces nearly 85% of its stated power. Most panels in the industry, if they make it to 25 years, they're at 78, 79, even 80% efficiency. That 5% efficiency drop might seem trivial, but it really adds up over time. Now, another really cool feature of this is the circuitry that they did separated the junction box, right? So you can see it's a split junction box. Normally, the junction box probably is up here, has 2 MC4 connectors, the male and the female. This split design allows half the panel to work, even if the other half is completely covered in shade. Again, they look for efficiency every way they could. So when you compare this 405 watt panel to, let's say, another 405 watt panel, in practice, the technology invested in this panel means that you're going to get a lot more usable power out of it than a comparable 405 watt nominal panel, right? Another point I wanted to cover is that these have really low temperature coefficients. Now, every solar panel is tested, designed, certified at 25 degrees Celsius. If they get hotter than that, degree by degree, they will lose some efficiency. That's just the nature of the beast. That temperature coefficient, for this one, it's 0.26%. That means at 26 degrees, it's 0.26% less efficient than it is at 25 degrees. That's really low temperature coefficient. Usually they're 10, 15, or 20% higher than that. Again, all these are little gains that the engineers at Tailsun worked on and achieved that help minimize or sometimes eliminate the negative causes of time and use on a solar panel. The last thing I wanted to mention about these panels is their hotspot protection. Now, hotspots happen when there's a little bit of shade. on one cell, then the cells that are functioning within that series kind of overheat that single cell. That can cause it to crack, whether that's micro cracks we can't see, or it can even shatter the glass. This has really high protection from it. So again, in every situation that you put this panel in, it outperforms something in its class. Now, that's all I'm going to mention right now about these panels. There are a lot more details. It's a very complex product, but that's all I kind of have right now.